Higher, Nora, higher.
All right. Hang on tight.
Whee!
That was very thoughtful of you, Gilbert, putting up that swing today for our Dorothy.
Oh, that was Edith's idea.
Oh.
I wish you'd let us have Nora, Edith. She gets along so well with Dorothy.
Yes.
Nora's very fond of children.
They do get along well together, don't they, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Nora? Come on, honey, Mrs. Goodhue called.
Come on to me.
Be a wild cow pony and you be a bronco buster, huh?
All right,
Let's go. Come on. There we go. Yep, now. All right.
You may serve tea now, Nora.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah. Come on, up you go again.
Oh, careful, Gilbert, careful.
She's all right.
Gilbert.
Right with me.
There, now we're all right. Come on. Come on, there you go. Bronco Buster, you've licked me. I'm tamed.
Oh, that was a great ride, Uncle Gilbert. Come on, Daddy, I'll tame you.
No, not now you won't.
Oh, that's enough, darling. Daddy doesn't want to play now. Come
Not
here,
now.
sweetheart.
Tea served, ma'am.
All right, Nora.
I'll take a Mrs. Green and me to her.
Oh, thank you, Nora.
What will you read, Nora?
You come with me and see.
I hope it's a golden story.
Oh, Mother Goose. Who's there?
Old King Cole.
Yep, was a merry old soul. And who's that?
Little Jackie Horner.
Little Jackie Horner sat in the corner. And who's there?
The old woman who lived in his shoes.
Yep, there was no woman.
No, Nora. Let me say it. There was an old woman who lived in his shoes. She had so many children she didn't know what to do.
Fine. You know all about the old lady, don't you?
Yes, but I don't think there's much sense to it.
And why not?
I don't think people had so many children.
Well, some people do.
You haven't any.
But I'm not married.
I don't think the old woman was either.
Dorothy.
I've never seen a picture of her husband.
Well, I guess she had one around somewhere. Oh, Joe!
Hello, Nora.
Hello, Joe.
Hello, Miss Dorothy.
Hello, Joe.
Say, Nora, I stopped in to tell you. This job is going to be a steady one. Mr. Camp told me so last night.
Oh, he did he?
Well, you're not peeved, are you?
Yes, I am. Do you expect to be a chauffeur all your life?
Certainly not. I'm liable to be a big businessman, or own a garage, or go into politics. Of course, you know you can't make a fortune in a month.
I don't expect a fortune. But whenever you speak of marrying, why, it's always in the future.
Well, you've got a good job, and I've got a good job. Why can't we get married right away?
You mean that you'd let me go on working after I was married?
Well, why not? Women don't give up their independence or their professions just because they get married.
Say, I'm not that kind of a woman.
But think of how much more independent you'd feel if you was helping to keep up the home. You know, Nora, being a woman nowadays ain't what it used to be. Gee, they're almost as good as men are.
My husband's got to support me. And if I can't find one that will, I'll just go on supporting myself.
Well, I suppose there's nothing for me to do but wait.
But you needn't wait around here.
Well. Goodbye, Miss Dorothy.
Bye, Joe. Oh, Nora. What's the matter? Are you mad?
Oh, no, honey. I'm not mad. Come on, let's read some more. That's High Diddle Diddle and the Cat and the Fiddle. And the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon.
Dorothy always has such a good time here.
He's the greatest kid in the world.
Did I tell you what she said the other night when she started to say her prayers? No, I don't think you did.
That's right, Mother. Tell that one. It's a scream.
Well, I told her to get down on her knees and say her prayers. And just as she started, she looked up at me and said, "Mother dear, hadn't you better open the window so God could hear?"
You did that, Gilbert. Gilbert, open the window so God can hear.
Well, did you open it?
Really, Gilbert, sometimes you are too exasperating. That's a very cute little story. I don't know how children think of the funny things they say. I don't either. I'm sure Dorothy has a real sense of humor.
That's what my mother always said.
Oh.
About me, I mean. Oh, do you know, when I was a child, I used to say the funniest things. Oh, I remember one story when I was about 3 years old.
Gilbert, you're not going to tell that one. They wouldn't be interested.
Well, I don't see why not. Everybody enjoys a clever story.
Of course they do. Go on, Gilbert.
Well, when I was about 3 years old, you know, one day my mother thought she ought to have the minister of her church to dinner. Oh, dear, a nice little chap he was, too. What was his name? Oh, I think it was Merriweather or Tyndall or...
Oh, never mind his name, dear.
Oh, well, whatever his name was, thank you, he came to the house. Oh, dear, I always remember that house because I was born in it. Oh, it was one of those great, big, old-fashioned things, you know. Much more comfortable than none of our modern houses.
Gilbert, the house has nothing to do with it.
It has too, dear. Here. Put that over. If there hadn't been a house, we couldn't have had the man to dinner. No. Well, anyway, he came all dressed up in his best clergyman suit. You know, George, with the frock coat down to here, and the choker collar and buttons up in the back. Dear, dear. Well, we sat down at the table, and suddenly, at a lull in the conversation, I spoke to my father.
Well, what did you say?
Well, Daddy, I said. Do you know, it wasn't until I was 12 years old that I called him father, although I knew all the time he was my father.
But what did you say?
Oh, yeah, but I said, Daddy, looking right at the minister. I said, if you wore your collar hindside before, would you be a minister?
That story has about as much sense to it as this book.
Oh, what book is it? Oh, that's Alan's new book, A Race of Thoroughbreds. Oh, what is it, a horse racing story? Well, no, indeed. It's a plea for the practical application of the eugenic idea, the physical fitness and suitability of people who are to marry. The result, of course, is supposed to be better, healthier, and stronger children.
Just a lot of Tommy rot.
Alan's always had some hobby, hasn't he? But I never knew he was interested in this.
Oh, Alan's like me. He's a man of ideas.
Yes, he is peculiar. Still, he works very hard at his writing and studying, and he's tremendously serious about it all.
How can a man be serious about this sort of twaddle? A race of thoroughbreds. Why, the whole idea is idiotic. Just plain Tommy rot.
I didn't know you'd read my book, George.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Really, Alan, you mustn't pay any attention to what he said. Well, it was a frank criticism at least. I'm sure Alan doesn't object to that.
Not a bit of it. In fact, I'm honored. I didn't know he'd read it.
Well, as a matter of fact, I haven't.
Well, then how do you know it's Tommy Rot?
Well, I didn't mean the book. I meant the whole idea.
Oh, I see. You mean you think that any scientific attempt to improve the human race is Tommy Rot?
Yes. No, I mean, well, I don't mean it the way you put it.
Oh, George. Now, why do you try to argue about a subject you know nothing about?
Leave him alone, Marion. This is where he's going to learn something about it. He's just the sort of mentally, morally, and physically tired businessman I'm after with my book.
A race of thoroughbreds. First, I thought it was a horse racing story. If I'd seen it on a book stand, I might have bought it and been stunned.
George.
Well, that's the reason I gave it that title. If I'd called it The Practical Application of Eugenics, you wouldn't have known what I meant. That's the reason my book is written in a popular style, to appeal to the masses, the lowbrows, to you, Mr. Green.
Alan, you mustn't talk like that. But let him alone. He deserves it.
Oh, dear me, this is humorous. Listen to this. Very interesting. The time will come when the producing of children will be put on as scientific a basis as that of cattle raising or horse farming.
There you are. If that isn't Tommy Rot, I don't know what is.
Gilbert, I wouldn't read it aloud if I were you. Decidedly not.
I don't know, I like a bit of spice.
Spice? Is that what you call my book? Well, I don't suppose I can make you understand that the production of children is just as important as the breeding of cows and horses.
Alan.
Well, I don't see anything the matter with our children under the present system. It's been all right for several thousand years. Our fathers and grandfathers got along all right without your plan.
Of course they did. They got along without telephones and surgery and automobiles and electricity. We'd still be getting along without them if all men thought as you do.
Well, there's something in that, George.
Those are mechanical inventions, and children are human beings. You can improve machinery, but the human being is the most perfect creation in the world.
Yeah? Well, some human beings.
Why, look at our Dorothy. Do you see anything the matter with her?
Many times a child seems perfectly normal for a number of years. Then suddenly the taint appears. Sometimes it's not until the next generation.
Gilbert.
Oh, I do hope Dorothy will be all right.
How absurd. She's the picture of health.
Oh, George, knock on wood.
Well, I'm sorry you brought it up, but now that you have mentioned it, if by any chance Dorothy is in good physical health, it's just luck, that's all.
Alan, you forget yourself.
Oh, let him talk. I want to hear more what he has to say about Dorothy. Why, she's been brought up in the most careful way. As for anything hereditary, did you ever see a healthier woman than Marion?
Well, you never can tell.
Or a huskier-looking specimen than I am?
You? Why, you're red in the face now as the result of a little friendly argument, which shows your heart must be affected. I have seen you consume a whole box of indigestion tablets at one sitting. You wear glasses when you read. Astigmatism. If I remember correctly, you had a complete nervous breakdown about a year before Dorothy was born. See? You can't laugh without coughing, which shows your lungs must be wrong.
Oh, dear me, and he's just in the prime of life, too.
But you feel all right, don't you, dear?
Why, of course I do. I play golf every day.
Mostly the 19th hole.
It's all a lot of nonsense. You're saying anything that comes into your head just to prove your point. Why, I suppose you could have picked out a lot better father for Dorothy than I am.
Not a doubt of it. Thousands of them.
Alan, my dear.
Well, go on. Who, for instance?
Well, for instance, I'll nominate my chauffeur, Joe Garvin. There's a man who has the physical right to bring children into the world.
Yes, but would he make Marion a good husband otherwise?
Gilbert, your remark is in very bad taste. And that applies to the whole conversation.
Oh, well, let him talk. I want to hear more about this perfect man.
You do? Well, you come out to the garage someday and I'll let you look him over. He has everything. Heart, lungs, measurements, all perfect. When I first met him, he was driving a taxi cab in the daytime and giving boxing lessons in a gym at night. His forebears were the finest Scotch-Irish country folk. He's an all-round athlete, a human thoroughbred.
Well, I must say I don't admire him socially.
I must say I don't think it's very flattering to be put in a class with the next taxi cab driver, or be compared to a boxing teacher.
Alan doesn't really mean to put you in the same class.
No, certainly not.
Joe is so far superior to you that there is no comparison. No, if you and Joe were dogs, he'd be winning blue ribbons in Madison Square Garden, and you'd be running around with tin cans tied to you.
Well, I must say I don't care for that argument. I was merely trying to explain.
Oh, please, let's talk of something else.
Well, it's been a very lovely day, hasn't it?
Come along, darling. We're going home now. Oh, Marion. Please don't go. You mustn't mind anything Alan says. I surely won't go. There. Now you've hurt Marion's feelings. I do wish you wouldn't talk eugenics to our friend.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I'm sure I didn't start the argument.
No, that was my fault. Come on, let's forget it.
Certainly.
Oh, Daddy, do we have to go?
Yes, it's time to go. You like your daddy, don't you? You think he's all right?
Yes, and I like Mr. Camp, too.
Well, that's very sweet of you, dear. Why do you like me?
Because you know everything.
There you are.
Well, what makes you think that?
I know it. Nora told me.
Well, I'm afraid sometimes Nora exaggerates.
Yes, well, she never has about me.
Come, George. Goodbye, Edith.
Goodbye, Marion.
Goodbye, Uncle Joe.
Goodbye, Dorothy.
I wish you had a little girl. If you did have, I'd come over and play with her every day. Come, darling. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Dorothy.
Goodbye.
Oh, I had an awfully good time. Nora's so nice.
I wish you had a little girl. It does bring it home to you, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
What's the matter with you two?
Oh, nothing. Edith and I miss having children around the house, you know. We both love them so. And I like them especially on Christmas Day.
It's strange there isn't one for us.
With all the children there are in heaven.
Well, I wouldn't blame it altogether on heaven.
Alan.
Why don't we do it?
You what?
Well, Gilbert and I have decided that we ought to adopt a child and bring it up as if it were our own. We've been visiting orphan asylums all afternoon, but somehow there wasn't one among them all that we felt safe about taking.
No, it's really harder than picking out a straw hat.
Well, it's a dangerous business unless you know the parents.
Well, that's just it. Either one of the parents was highly undesirable or unknown. There was the cutest baby girl at the Foundlings' home just down the street.
Oh, yeah, number 66 she was.
No, dear, number 99.
I myself examined that tag on her ankle, and I'm sure it was 66.
But I'm sure it was 99.
Oh, darling, you must have looked at it upside down. I'm positive it was 66.
Let him win that argument, Edith. It's the first time I've ever known him to have a positive idea, so he must be right.
Well, anyway, the baby was as cute as it could be. The mother is a very respectable woman, but she's too poor to care for the child. She's willing to give up all claims. The father is an unknown quantity. She wouldn't give us any information about him, except that he's a perfectly honorable man.
Well, you never can tell now. He might have been a burglar.
What difference does it make what business he's in if he's healthy?
But that we can't tell.
That's just it. You can't find out the important things about a foundling, so why take a chance? Think what might develop in after years when it grew up.
I suppose you're right, but we do so want a child.
Doesn't seem right we can't have one of our own.
Well, maybe it's just as well. Sometimes I think nature is endowed with almost human intelligence. Think what chance the child would have with you for a father.
What, don't you start picking on me now.
You don't want us to adopt a child, and you're glad we haven't one of our own. According to you, we're condemned to live our whole lives alone, to be denied the joy and comfort of having a little boy or a little girl to bring up in our home.
Wait a minute. I'm condemning you to nothing of the kind. Now stop crying. Shh. There is a way for you to have a child. A perfectly simple way. It's so simple, I never thought of it before.
What do you mean?
Why, you don't have to adopt a child that's already born.
What?
No! Start at the beginning. I will find a couple who, according to my eugenic ideas, are perfectly fitted to bring children into the world. And I will arrange with them to be the parents of your child.
Oh, I never heard of such a thing. I'm sure it isn't being done.
Oh, Alan.
If you wanted a thoroughbred colt, chicken, or pig, what would you do?
I don't know. What would you do?
Why, you'd breed for it. Why not give a child the same chance?
I don't know.
Alan. I think you might have some modesty even before your sister.
Well, what has modesty to do with it if it gives you a child that you can be proud of? One that would be capable of unlimited development as it grew up? Think what Gilbert might have had with such a chance.
What, you dare criticize my parents?
I should say I do. Look at them.
Well, what's the matter with me?
They didn't know any better in those days.
Oh, Alan, you must realize your idea is impossible. It can't be done.
I don't see why not. To me, it seems perfectly simple. Of course, it's going to cost a little money, say $10,000.
How much?
Well, 5 or 10, but what difference does that make if it gives you a perfect child?
You mean you'd pay these people?
Well, you can't expect them to go to all that trouble for nothing.
I know, but who could you get to do it?
I've got the man all picked out, and he's a wonder. All I've got to do is to find the woman.
Alan, what man would do such a thing?
My chauffeur, Joe Garvin.
But Alan!
Joe Garvin?
Yes.
Never.
Why not?
I refuse to have your chauffeur as the father of my child.
We want him for a father, not a husband.
But think what people would say.
There's another advantage to my scheme. Think what people would say if you adopted a foundling. Why, your friends, the Greens, would never consider it socially equal to their little Dorothy. Now, with my scheme, nobody need know that the child isn't your own. As soon as I have arranged with this couple, you go away for about a year. Then, after the child is born, you return, and nobody need be the wiser. Don't you see how simple it is?
You know, the more I think of it, the more I believe it could be done.
Well, then will you try it?
Alan, your parents would be downright immoral.
Well, we're not adopting the parents.
But we would be a party to their immorality. Why, they'd be breaking the law on our account.
The only law involved is the law of nature, and we'd simply be giving nature a chance to bring into the world a human being better fitted for life than the average.
Oh, the whole thing is preposterous.
Then you don't want a child.
Of course I do. But I won't have it that way.
Oh.
I'd give anything in the world to have a child.
Oh, it sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Our prayers have been unanswered for so long.
Gilbert, you'd be the happiest man in the world. You're so nice with children, too.
Yes, and I've always said that you'd make an ideal little mother.
Somehow, our home will never seem complete.
I know, dear, I know just how you feel. Oh, how often I've longed to hear the patter of little feet or a peal of joyous laughter. Oh, yes. And there's that front room on the second floor. Oh, we could easily have that done over as the nursery. There's lots of light and air.
Never mind your alterations until you've completed the plans. You agreed to do this thing.
We say yes.
That's fine. Thank heavens I've got Joe to start with. Now all I've got to do is to find the right woman. That's all. Nora! You're very fond of children, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
How would you like to have a little baby in the house?
Oh, there's nothing I like better, sir.
Well, you shall, Nora. Well, how about it, Joe? Have you read my book? That's the boy. Well, now, do you understand what it's all about?
Understand it?
Yeah.
Say, boss, you don't mean to say that you picked me for one of those all-around thoroughbred champions like you wrote about in this book?
I have been quietly investigating you for some time, Joe. I haven't been able to find a single flaw. You've a wonderful pedigree, Joe.
Well, when I first read the book, I thought you must be joking. But afterwards, when I found out you was really serious, I understood the whole thing. Sure, and it's a great idea, too. You know, I think there's something in this here eugenical stuff. But how are you going to know for sure until somebody tries it out? That's what I say.
And there's some sense in what you say, Joe. I'm glad you look at it in that light.
Sure, oh, I got it right away. Anyhow, I say give it a trial. Maybe the whole idea's a flivver, but it's worth a gamble.
Well, then I take it you're willing to contribute your services to this experiment?
Certainly.
Fine.
But wait a minute, boss. Who's the other party to this deal?
Oh, I thought I told you. Nora.
Nora?
And believe me, my dear Joe, she is the very choice for this experiment.
Now, hold on, Mr. Camp. Nora and me's engaged to be married.
Yes, so you've told me.
Well, just leave her name out of it.
No.
Oh, I know you don't mean nothing wrong, but leave her out of it, that's all.
Well, what are you talking about? Why, she's just as important in this as you are. In fact, more.
Well, I tell you to leave her out of it. She ain't that kind of a girl.
Now, listen, when I broached this matter to you, you looked at it sensibly. Now you're talking like a silly old schoolma'am. Of course Nora's fine. That's the reason I chose her to be your opposite in this experiment. Just because I happen to pick on the woman you love, you balk. Instead of which, I should think you'd feel proud. Very, very proud.
Well, of course, I didn't look at it in quite that way.
Yeah, that's a little better. I wish I could get Nora to look at it in that light, but something tells me I haven't entirely convinced her.
Well, you see, boss, women ain't so wise as we are.
No.
They ain't so
Progressive?
progressive. That's the word I'm looking for. They ain't so progressive as we are. And it really is a big opportunity for both of us.
Opportunity? Why, my dear boy, future generations are going to say that you've done more for humanity than anybody since Adam and Eve.
You let me go and talk to her. You know, you don't understand women like I do. That's where you fall down.
Is that so? Sure.
Hello, Joe. I saw you talking to Mr. Camp. Are you going to do it?
Why, of course. Didn't the boss pick me out of all the men he knows to be the father of your child? A thoroughbred, that's what he says I am. A real thoroughbred.
Yes, Joe, I understand you're quite extraordinary. And I assure you that I appreciate it, Joe.
Well, that's all right. I'm always here to give science a boost whenever I can.
Yes, and I want to tell you that science will appreciate it, too.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to tell you, Joe, that I'm very grateful, too.
Say, you're awful anxious to have a kid, ain't you?
Oh, I certainly am, Joe. Especially a boy. Oh, dear, dear. I've always thought it'd be so interesting to bring up a boy. You know, to watch him develop, to select his nurses and his governess and his tutors.
Yes, that must be a wonderful sport.
Yes, it is. Oh, and to watch him play games, Joe. Oh, dear. You played games when you were a boy, didn't you?
Sure I did. I used to play one a cat back at the gas house on Avenue A.
Well, I wouldn't let my boy play back of any gas house.
Well, I'd let my boy play there.
But we're talking about my boy, Joe.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be his father before you are.
Oh, I know, but there your responsibility ends. What are you laughing at?
What if it's a girl?
A girl? Joe, why, it's unthinkable. Joe, I'm relying on you.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best. Well, Nora, what do you say?
Joe, has Mr. Camp talked to you?
He has?
Well, what'd you do?
Well, I tell you, Nora, we've got to look at this thing in the right light. Of course, you see, I've just read this book, and I understand it. It's a big subject. Now, I don't suppose you ought to expect a woman to understand.
But I do understand it. Only it don't seem as if it could be right.
Well, Nora, if it's in the interest of science, it can't be wrong, can it?
I don't know. But I'm surprised at you. I'm sure your mother and mine wouldn't think it was all right.
Well, lots of things have happened since they were young. Lots of things are done now that they wouldn't have approved of. Look at women's suffrage and vivisection and the Russian ballet and twilight sleep. No, Nora, we've got to look at this thing in a new way. And if there's anything we can do to help the world along, it's our duty to do it. Why, a few years ago, poor people like us would never have had a chance to do anything big and important like this.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Camp said. He said we'd be pioneers and blaze a trail.
Yes, you see, and with the $15,000, we can get married right away. It'll put us on easy street and we'll never have to worry again.
Well, Mr. Camp says it's all right. And you think it's all right. Oh, Joe, darling, Are you sure it's all right?
Well, it's a new idea, and it hasn't been tried yet in a practical way. And I suppose a lot of people will laugh at it. But then I can remember when they brought out the first eight-cylinder car. Everybody laughed at that, and now they've all got them. It's the same way with this here eugenics. As soon as somebody tries it out, they'll all fall for it. I say we agree.
Well, all right. I will.
Well, let's go tell Mr. Camp right away.
All right, just a minute.
Well, it's all settled. Fine. This is a proud day for me, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I beg your pardon, but I think I'll be leaving you tonight.
What?
Yes, Nora will, too. We're going to be married as soon as possible.
Well, congratulations, Joe. Now, I'm arranging to send Mr. and Mrs. Goodhue away for a year.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, I'm wise. Say, you're a wonder. Mr. Camp's science ought to be mighty grateful to you and me.
Well, I hope so, Joe. Now, will you just bring the car around because I want to go downtown and arrange about getting their tickets?
Yes, sir.
Alan? Yes?
All settled?
Certainly.
Then they agreed?
Well, didn't I tell you I'd arrange everything?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I tell you, it's a load off my mind.
I'd like to know what your mind's been loaded with.
I can't be a party to this.
Oh, darling, you know that I wouldn't do anything that isn't proper. What do we have to do now, Alan?
The thing for you to do is to get away as quickly as you can. I wouldn't trust you to be alone for 24 hours.
It's going to look mighty funny to people our going away so suddenly. I don't know what Marion will think,
Well,
but I'm sure I couldn't face her now.
You'll have no chance to see Marion or anyone else. The thing for you to do is to get your trunks packed quickly and be ready to leave the moment I get back.
But we can't do it so soon. I always hate to hurry about packing.
Will you please let me arrange this? You get your trunks packed and be ready to leave the moment I get back.
But
I said the moment I get back.
Oh, very well, then. Well, what do you think of that?
Dear me, I don't know. My brain is dizzy. But Alan is right. We should get away from here as soon as possible. I'll have to write Marion and explain as best I can. I suppose we might as well start with the trunks right away.
Oh, it's all so sudden I can't realize it.
Gilbert,
What?
you'll have to find the keys.
Oh, boy.
Gilbert, the keys.
Oh, very well, darling, but I always hate to hurry about packing. It always upsets me. Oh, boy.
Gilbert, come on. Here I am. May I come in? Oh, yes. Of course. Well, what's the matter? You look startled. Oh, well, yes, I am. You came in so unexpectedly. I always do, don't I? But now, you don't want me to stop and ring the bell, do you, after all these years? No, of course not. I only mean, I didn't expect to see you this particular morning.
You didn't? Well, that's funny. Gilbert knew I was coming. He telephoned George to come up from the office, and then George suggested that I meet him here.
Gilbert, did you telephone George?
Yes, darling, I did. I knew you'd want to say goodbye to Marion.
That was very thoughtful of you.
Goodbye. Are you going away?
Oh, didn't he just tell you?
Well, how long are you going for?
Oh, just a little while.
Oh, yes, perhaps a year.
A year?
Huh? Yes. Yeah, I know where those keys are, darling. I'll get them.
A year? Well, this is sudden. You didn't say anything about it last night.
Oh, didn't I? Well, I suppose it must have slipped my mind.
No, people don't suddenly decide to go away for a year. There must be a reason for it.
Oh, no. Well, there is a reason, of course.
What is it?
Oh, it's Gilbert.
Gilbert?
Yes. He isn't well. We're going away on account of his health.
Oh, now Gilbert's perfectly well. Why, I've never seen him look better.
Well, he does look all right, doesn't he? But he isn't. He's been hiding his real condition from us. I suppose there have been times when he could hardly hold up his head, but he never said a word.
Oh, you poor girl. What does the doctor say?
What?
What does the doctor say the trouble is?
Oh, it's his heart.
Oh, you don't mean it.
Yes, but don't let him know that I've told you. He's terribly sensitive about it, and I don't want him to know that we've noticed any difference at all.
Well, I assure you I haven't. I've seen Gilbert a great deal of late, but I never suspected anything like this.
Neither did I. He's been so brave, no one has known a thing about it.
He must have been suffering for a long, long time. Where are you going to take him?
Huh?
Where are you going to take him?
Where am I going to take him?
Yes. Well, it isn't a secret, is it?
Oh, no. It's Cuba, Havana.
Havana? Well, that isn't so bad. They say the life there is quite gay in the winter.
Is that so?
Oh, yes. And of course, the sea trip will be good for Gilbert. I think Havana is just the place.
Well, I carried all the trunks upstairs.
Edith, carry trunks?
Oh, you poor dear. You shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I should say not.
Oh, Marion, perhaps you'll come and help me with the packing.
Oh, you poor dear thing. It doesn't seem possible, does it? Oh, doesn't it?
Gilbert, never mind that. Now, look here, Gilbert. What do you mean by phoning me at the office to leave there and come chasing up here to see you? Come. I'm wasting time.
Oh, George, don't be so impatient. You know, I wouldn't have asked you to come if it hadn't been important. I told you that we're going away, maybe for a year.
A year? What are you going to do, go to the North Pole?
No, I don't think so. Oh, don't be absurd.
Isn't this rather sudden?
No. We've been thinking about it for quite some little time.
Where are you going?
What?
Where are you going?
Where am I going?
I should say that's rather important.
Yes, you're quite right, George. Some places are so much nicer than others, aren't they? And the hotels are, and the people, and the beaches. Oh, dear, the beach. Moonlight on the beach. That is, if there is a beach. Sometimes there isn't a beach, but a golf course. Well, I'll take my clubs anyway, and my bathing suit, George. You bathe sometimes, don't you?
Gilbert, surely even you haven't decided to go away for a whole year without knowing where you're going.
Oh, of course I know where I'm going. I think it's very interesting to visit strange places. You know, to take your time, George, and study the people. That's the reason I picked out a place that has people. I think there's nothing so broadening as travel anyway.
Well, where is this place?
Oh, you'll know the minute I tell you.
Well, then, for heaven's sake, tell me.
Well, it's, Bermuda.
Bermuda? And so you plan to spend the whole year in Bermuda? What for?
Well, I'm not going just for fun.
What are you going for?
Oh,
Partly on business.
Oh, Gilbert, what business could you possibly have in Bermuda?
Well, you see, the fact is, I own a little ranch down there.
You do?
Yes.
Well, it's funny you've never spoken of it.
I don't see why. A man doesn't run around the streets bragging about his investments, does he?
How much land do you own?
Oh, just a small ranch, a couple of 1,000 acres.
Well, what do you raise on it?
Say, what's the matter with you? Do you want to buy it?
Well, no, but I'm just naturally interested, that's all. Tell me, what do you grow there?
Easter lilies.
Easter lilies? You mean to tell me that you own 2,000 acres of lilies?
Well, why not? I think it's a very beautiful idea. I've always wanted to own a little piece of ground, to have a place to go to when I get old. Oh, dear, when I get old. I think most men feel that way sometimes, don't you, George?
When did you buy this place?
Oh, 3 or 4 years ago.
But you haven't been to Bermuda in the last 3 or 4 years.
Didn't have to go there to buy it.
So you bought it without seeing it?
Yes.
And you picked out an Easter lily farm in Bermuda that you'd never seen?
Yes.
What island is it on?
Bermuda.
Oh, Bermuda is a group of islands.
Oh, is it? Well, you see, I've always been stupid about geography,
Well,
George.
you must know which of the islands your property is on.
No, I don't, and I've never known. It's there someplace. That's just the reason I'm going there now, is to find out what island it is on.
Well, I've heard of some strange things, but this is one of the strangest.
I don't see anything strange about it at all. I don't see anything strange about it.
George, you've been talking business to Gilbert and getting him all excited.
Oh, what if I have?
No, I'm not a bit excited.
Oh, Marion, my dear. Now, see here. We're all old friends, and it's ridiculous for us to have secrets from each other. George, do you know why Edith and Gilbert are going away?
Of course I do. To visit their Easter lily ranch in Bermuda.
Bermuda?
Well, what's the matter? If you had an Easter lily ranch in Bermuda, wouldn't you want to go and smell it once in a while?
Oh, I see, Marion. He didn't want to tell even George.
Well, if you can't confide in your friends when you're in trouble, now what's the use of having friends? I think it's important that George should know.
No, what, for heaven's sake?
That you and Edith are going away for your health.
What's the matter with him?
It's his heart.
But he's been perfectly well.
On the surface.
No one has suspected. He's kept it all to himself.
Yes, he's borne it all alone, with a Spartan bravery and a smiling face.
Hey, why are you sitting around here doing nothing? Are your trunks packed?
No, we haven't had time yet.
Well, you'd better hurry up because you're leaving tonight at 5:30 from the Grand Central Station.
Oh, rather.
For Bermuda?
No, for Southern California.
Beg pardon, sir.
Oh, come in, Joe.
Nora and me just stopped in to say goodbye. We're going to be married tonight.
Oh, Joe, that's
Fine.
splendid.
Fine.
And when you return, Joe, if you want to find me, I'll be at the club.
You're a lucky man, Joe.
I know it, ma'am.
Mr. Camp doesn't believe in marriage, but the rest of us think it's a great institution.
Oh, Alan is in favor of this marriage.
Should say I am. I hope it'll be a success.
And I hope it'll be a boy.
Gilbert.
Miss Duncan, the nurse?
Yes, sir.
I'm Mr. Camp. Now, I want you to take complete charge of my sister's baby. I'm expecting her any moment now. Of course, she knows nothing at all about children, so I shall expect you to be very firm with the baby's formula.
I never allow parents to interfere.
Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Goodhue may want to see the child occasionally.
Oh, I can arrange that.
Now, you'll find the nursery right at the head of the stairs there. You can change your uniform in there. If there's anything you want, you let me know.
Alan!
Hello, Alan. Tell us about the baby, quick.
Everything is working out exactly as I said it would. As I wired you, the child was born on the 1st of July. I had a talk with the doctor, and he says he's never seen a more perfect specimen in his life.
Yeah, for $15,000, it ought to be a perfect specimen.
Nobody knows you're home.
No one.
Fine. I phoned Joe about an hour ago to bring the baby over. He's probably on his way here now. Now, all you've got to do is to take over the baby, let your friends know that you're home from California, and that's all there is to it. The way it works out, nobody need know that the baby isn't yours. And you'll thank me for the rest of your life.
Oh, we do now.
I should say we do.
And the nursery.
Exactly where you wanted it and carried out in every detail.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Come on, Gilbert, hurry up, will you? Gilbert? Oh, Gilbert.
Oh, little mother.
Mr. and Mrs. Goodhue? Yes? I am Miss Duncan, the nurse your brother engaged to take care of the baby. Yes. Where is it? It isn't here. Nora's bringing it. The maid? Yes. Yes. Well, in the first place, all of his pleading will have to come down.
But I think it's very beautiful.
And this crib. Why, I wouldn't allow a child to sleep in that. It's a germ collector.
Well, I've heard of collecting postage stamps, but never germs. Personally, I think this...
Your brother said that I was to have complete charge.
Yes, ma'am.
When have you been feeding the baby?
Oh, it's very regular with its meals. Oh, yes. It has its breakfast at 9, lunch at 1, dinner at 7, and then we give it a bite to eat after the theater.
I suppose you've been feeding it prepared food.
Oh, sure we have. It won't eat anything raw. I don't think I'm going to like her.
George and Marion are on their way up. I tried to keep them downstairs, but you know what Marion is.
Well, how did they know we were home today?
know.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you, dear.
Well, well, Gilbert, welcome home. We weren't sure that you'd be here quite so early.
Well, how did you know that they'd be here at all today?
Why, Gilbert Winters, of course.
Gilbert?
Yes.
How's business, George?
Oh, never mind business.
I should say not. Come now. Where is the surprise package that goes with this beautiful room?
Surprise package? Oh, Edith, you don't know how happy I was when I read Gilbert's telegram and how I wished I'd been with you when it happened. You know, I was alone when Dorothy was born, and I know what it means. Yes.
Gilbert, what did you say to George in that telegram?
Oh, come now, Edith. No more mystery. He told us all about the baby.
I never did. I never mentioned it.
Well, here it is. This is what he said. We'll be home Tuesday with surprise. Born 1st of July. Gilbert.
Well, wasn't it born the 1st of July?
Oh, yes, yes.
Then why all the secrecy?
Well, you see... We wanted to wait and give a little surprise party for a few of our friends.
Yes, and then Gilbert had to go and spoil it all.
Well, of course, we don't mean to spoil anything, but now that we're here, let's see the baby.
Delightful climate in Southern California.
Oh, I just can't wait. Then you can go ahead with your surprise. We won't bring the word.
Well, you see, the baby isn't here. Yet.
Isn't here?
No, Joe and Nora have taken it for a walk.
Yes. Never seen New York.
Well, but I don't understand. A young baby like that shouldn't be out.
Well, it was Gilbert's idea.
Oh, Edith, now, what does Gilbert know about children?
Oh, I've been reading a lot of books about them lately. I just finished Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Well, anybody knows that a little fresh air can't hurt a baby.
Oh, George. Oh, just look.
Oh, dear me, look at that.
Doesn't that take you back?
Why don't you come back later in the afternoon and see the child?
Oh, we're in no hurry. And surely they wouldn't keep such a young baby out very long.
Well, you never can tell now. They might go someplace to lunch.
Oh, we have plenty of time. Dear me, Marion, when I look at this, I realize how time has flown.
Yes.
Why don't you go down to the office, George, and see how business is? You can take the shirt with you.
Oh, we wouldn't think of leaving now.
Well, if you really mean to wait, I do wish you'd go into the other room. I don't want you to see the baby until I put a clean dress on it.
All right. I know how you feel. Come along, George.
We'll call you as soon as we're ready.
All the idiotic.
Oh, by the way, I forgot the question I meant to ask first. Is it a boy or a girl?
You tell them, Gilbert.
Well, you know, Edith had her heart set on a girl.
I know.
And, you know, I always wanted a boy, you know, someone to perpetuate the name and all that.
Yes, oh yes. And what was it?
Huh? Alan, you know, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? I thought you did. Well, we'll let you find out for yourselves, and then it'll be a surprise for all of us.
Yes, well, don't keep us waiting long.
No, you better not. Come along, George.
You big simpleton.
What do you mean by sending George that
Oh,
telegram?
I had to wire him on account of some business he wanted me to look after for him.
You didn't have to say anything about a surprise, did you?
I had to say something to make up 10 words.
And naturally, all 10 were wrong. Oh, what shall we do?
Why did you ever marry him?
Oh, don't go back to that now.
Oh, don't cry, dear. I'm sorry.
A big state like California, and you couldn't find some place to lose
Now,
him.
don't start picking on me already. Nothing has happened yet. It isn't so bad.
Could it be any worse? With them waiting in the next room to see our baby, which hasn't arrived yet?
But Alan says it's on its way.
On its way, yes. 100 things might bob up to detain them. Don't do that.
Oh, can't I look at the time?
No.
They've come.
At last.
Thank heaven.
Shall we send them up?
Them? What do you mean, send them up?
The trunks. Well, shall the expressman bring them up? No. Tell him to leave them downstairs. But when the maid comes with the baby, send her up here. Yes, Mrs. Goodhue.
certainly is true. A father's under a terrific nervous strain when he's waiting for a baby to arrive.
I beg your pardon?
Well, it's about time.
There, see, there was nothing to worry about at all.
Oh, isn't it a darling?
Yes, ma'am, it
Is
is.
it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
A boy, oh, Joe, thank you so much. Did you hear that, Alan?
Yes, I heard. And now to business.
Now to business. Well, here, Joe. Here's your check, and turn the baby over to us now.
Yes, let me take him, Nora.
Joe, do you hear?
Now, don't get excited. It's all right.
Well, tell him. You must tell him now.
Tell us what?
Well, when we made this agreement a year ago, it sounded all right.
It was all right. You're going to get your money.
That ain't the point. We didn't have a baby then.
Well, we know that. What about it?
Well, now that we've got it, it all seems different. Oh, I know you made us a business proposition, and we accepted it. But hang it all, when it comes to our part of the bargain, Nora says she just can't give the child up.
What?
No, I can't. I won't. I don't care what happens. I don't care what you say. I won't give him up.
Oh, Nora, you can't mean
Oh,
that.
yes, ma'am, I do. I can't help it.
Nora.
Oh, Mr. Goodhue, you don't understand a mother's love for her child.
No, of course, I've never been a mother.
Now, see here. I contracted for that baby a year ago. $15,000 was the price. You've got your check. Now, surely you've some sense of honor.
Oh, you don't know what it means to me. To feel his warm, soft little body nestling in my arms. To know that he's mine, that he's part of me. You don't know what it means to me when I lean over his little crib in the morning and see him lying there all wide awake and stretching his chubby arms up to me to take him. Oh, if you did know. If you did realize. You'd never want to hold me to that bargain. You'd never want to take him away from me.
Oh, don't, Nora. I can't stand it.
Oh, shut up.
You see how it is, Mr. Camp. She has her point of view.
She has nothing of the kind. She's actuated by silly, sentimental twaddle.
But, Nora, it's too late. You can't go back. We must have a baby. Our plans are all made.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Goodhue.
Yeah, look at this nursery. Look at it. What are we going to do with it? I don't know. Look at this. Look. We gotta have a baby. I can't wear it.
There's no use talking. I'd rather die than give up my baby. Oh, he's more to me than anything else in the world.
Well, what about this $15,000?
Well, I know it's more money than I'll ever see again, but I've got to make her happy.
You mean this is final?
Yes, Mr. Camp, it's final.
And to think we had to live a whole year in San Diego for this.
Hello in there. May we come in now?
No! We'll call you in a minute.
Ooh, I forgot about them.
What shall we do?
Well, with George and Marion waiting around to see a baby, you'll have to rummage around and find one.
In 10 minutes?
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, you'll have to borrow one. Nora, will you lend us your baby for a little while?
Yes, Nora, we won't drop it.
No, I can't. I won't let him out of my sight.
We won't drop it. We'd have had it but for that.
Oh, well, that wouldn't do anyway. We couldn't show them the baby today and then tomorrow tell them it was gone.
Well, we could say it'd been kidnapped.
I could choke you.
I have it. The orphan asylum down the street.
That's the very idea.
Yeah, don't you remember the baby we almost adopted? Joe can run down and get it. It's only 2 blocks away.
You're taking an awful chance on a child with unknown parents.
Oh, keep quiet. I've let you run things long enough, Joe. Run down to the Foundlings' home and get the baby whose number is 66.
Wait a minute, Joe. Gilbert, that child's number was 99.
It was nothing of the sort.
But 99?
Don't argue with me. I remember perfectly. Go ahead, Joe.
Nora, you wait here for me. I'll run all the way.
I'm positive that child's number was 99.
You're making a big mistake.
Oh, that's your specialty. I should have taken things into my own hands long ago.
You mustn't blame it all on Alan. Remember, we agreed to the plan.
Agreed to it? You jumped at it.
Yes, after practically being forced into it. Personally, I never did think much of it.
There's a grateful father for you.
Yes, I don't think it's exactly fair to talk like that, just because things haven't turned out as we planned.
Oh, you might have known Nora wouldn't give up her own child. If it was any good.
I suppose that's the reason you invited George and Marion around to see it.
Well, don't worry. We're going to have a baby.
Great Scott, you know what you've done?
What's the matter?
Well, that child you sent for was 6 months old a year ago. It'll be a year and a half old now.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Oh, Gilbert.
No, well, don't worry. I'll explain it.
How can you explain it?
No, dear, don't bother me. Let me think.
I dare you to think. Now, don't bother him. He's thinking.
Say, how much longer are you... Marion, the baby's here. Oh, dear me, look. Oh, dear me, look. Well, it's easy to see who the baby looks like. Gilbert, old man, it's the very image of you.
But it has Edith's eyes.
Oh, but it has Gilbert's nose.
Yes, and Gilbert's intelligence. Hold on, George. That isn't our baby. That's Joe's and Nora's.
What?
Yes, they're married, you know.
Well, what a coincidence that they should have a child about the same time.
Why shouldn't they? I don't see anything strange about it.
Well, my mistake was quite natural.
Not if you'd seen our baby.
Well, what do you mean?
Oh, our baby's much larger than Nora's.
Really?
Yeah, twice as large.
Gilbert, I'm afraid you're exaggerating.
Oh, no, I'm not now. You'll see.
Oh, but it isn't possible. It was born in July.
But in California. Don't you know how much bigger things grow in California? Big trees and big oranges and big grapefruit.
Oh, Gilbert, you certainly are the proud father.
George did just as much bragging about Dorothy.
You'll see that tropical climate does have an effect on...
Yes, well, where is this wonderful baby?
Oh, it's on its way.
Yes, we've sent for it.
Sent for it? That is, we sent for Joe. He has it.
What in the world is Joe doing with it?
Oh, Joe just loves children. He can't let them alone.
He's taking it out to have it weighed.
He'll be back any minute. I just can't wait to see it.
That's right. Marion is as much interested as if it were her own child.
So am I. I mean, to have you see the little dear.
Well, I asked for 66, and this is what they gave me.
66?
Big trees, big oranges, big lemons.
Hey, what sort of a joke is this, anyway?
Come along, George.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't you understand? We wanted to adopt the baby.
Yes, and then Nora wouldn't give her child up, so we had to send Joe down to the asylum to get one, and you see what he brought back.
I begin to understand.
So do I. Marion, we've been in the way long enough.
I should say we have. Come along, George.
Well, goodbye, everybody. Oh, Gilbert. Better luck next time.
Well, don't blame me.
Take the native son downstairs, Joe. I'll see you later.
Yes, sir.
Want some?
No.
Mr. Camp, I'm so sorry I failed you.
Failed me? Why, Nora, you're just 100% efficient.
Well, what are we going to do with the check?
I'm going to give it to Joe. I'm not going to have my perfect baby's life spoiled simply because you've been a big fool.
Alan's right, we do owe them a lot.
Where is the baby?
Oh, there isn't any baby.
Didn't you say the maid was bringing it?
Oh, she did bring it. We didn't like it. We sent it back.
But I was engaged to take care of a baby.
Well, who engaged you?
Mr. Alan Camp.
Let Mr. Camp find you a baby.
But what about this?
Oh, drink it yourself.
Well, my perfect child has started in life all right.
Oh, well. Let's give them the whole outfit.
No, Gilbert. I made them myself. I want to keep them.
Keep them? What for?
I kept it to tell you until we got home.
You mean...
Oh, Gilbert,
Are you happy?
Happy? Oh, I tell you, it's a wonderful state.
What? Motherhood?
No, California.